Welcome, sisters. Jen and I thought we would come on. Hi, to
Hello.
answer the questions that we didn't get to on the call yesterday. Thank you so much for so many of you came and joined us live, and I hope those of you who watched the replay or listened to the replay have enjoyed that too. So we're just coming on to answer questions we didn't get to in the hour yesterday. So I'll just go over to where they are. So we first have, we have one from Pauline, although I've been in email contact with you and I know you feel that the call actually answered your question anyway. So thank you, Pauline. I'm glad you were here on the call and great to be in touch with you. And then we have Bernadette, who says that she has been listening to Jen talking about digestive problems and that also has some issues there as well. Lots of tests coming back negative. And I had ME in the past, or ME or chronic fatigue in the past, for those of you in the US. So Jen, is there anything you want to say to that about digestive problems?
Yeah, I think it's a really common problem with anything to do with stress and anything to do with energy issues and fibromyalgia and other things like that. You often find these digestive problems coming through as well. For me, it was a lifelong. They were probably some of the first things to show up in my childhood. Really bad digestive problems, and it swayed from everything, from like severe constipation and IBS to severe diarrhea and IBS and gastritis and you name it, basically. And I've had all the tests. And I've had all of the diets and the supplements, and to some degree, I've learned how to look after myself a lot better, and what sets me off and not. But the digestive problems, I was trying to treat those separately from all the other things that were going on, the bouts of fatigue or the bouts of getting throat infections and glandular fever, whatever it is. I always had something, and they were always alongside of it. And I tried to treat them separately from the rest of me. And it was only when I started to see them as part of the whole that they really started to shift, because the digestive system, the stomach is the second brain. And think about it. Think about any time where you've been a bit nervous about something. Think about like an exam or a kind of a presentation or something like that you might have had to do at some point in your life, and how usually that goes straight to your stomach, that you've got the butterflies there, maybe even you need to run to the toilet, like the emotions that you're feeling and the fears that you're having go straight and have a physical effect. And it's really really visible. So imagine what sort of long-term stresses and strains and environmental factors as well will have on something like the digestive system. So I would just say, see it as part of the whole. See it as part of when you're calming yourself down and you're not in reaction as much, you're much more in dynamic action and much more in rest and digest, then those digestive systems the system starts to calm down and the symptoms start to relieve. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helpful for you, Bernadette.
That's great. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, I definitely found for me digestive symptoms just sort of naturally sort of went away the more I worked on my sort of emotions and nervous system, and the body and mind are just so connected. And and if you join the community, you can also access the Maya Shree Clans interview, and it's very much about the digestive system and the dirt cure, and it's very, very interesting anyway. So
yeah, great. Okay, and the next comment we have is from Joyce. It's quite a long comment, and Joyce has shared a really personal story of where she is right now. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Joyce. It's really brave. And I'm really excited. I think you might have signed up to the community. So I'm really excited about welcoming you into the community and to be able to support you right now where you are on your journey. Any of the techniques that we're using are good for it's not just for chronic illness. I mean, the things that we're doing are about just building resilience and self-care and ability to deal with things as they come up in life, and having the trust and the strength to do that. That's one of the biggest payoffs of working with these inner things and getting over symptoms of an illness. They're teaching us how to cope better and to have new tools and new techniques and new approaches to things that come up in life, because there's always something that comes up and we can use these things for anything. So I'm really glad that you have found that this community, you found us fantastic. and that we can support you right where you are right now. And yeah, just thank you so much for being so honest and brave coming forward to us.
Great, thank you. And then we have Grace, who says, please describe how you transitioned out of post-exertional malaise. I was a very active person, and whilst I am still pacing, I am trying to visualize how it will feel to be active and just have sore muscles from lack of conditioning instead of the malaise that I've experienced the past year and a half. Yeah, and sometimes I think that can be sort of a later thing to fully go as you're recovering your health. Absolutely. And I know for me, it took a bit of time, a bit more retraining that I needed to do on my nervous system, a bit more relaxation of my nervous system, a bit more healing, deeper healing, a bit more getting to the roots of what was going on to really bring back that strength that I could exercise without having that effect. And that was always really important to me, to get to that point where I could run or cycle without it having a big impact and actually becoming just something that brought me, so much joy and more health ultimately. Exercise can be also part of the road of getting better, getting healthier and stronger as well, and including it in your life. So yeah, so Jen, I don't know if you've got more to add to that.
The same, exactly. I found it something that was still there a bit later on in the recovery process, and it was very much still an indicator for me. I just took it as I accepted it and surrendered to it. After a while, it was something that I did resist quite a lot, because again, I was very, very active and still like to be very active. So it was just I took it then as an indicator when I came back round to acceptance and surrender to it, used it then as an indicator of how to go back in and find, what was left, what patterns were still left running in that background, that software program running in the background that was just still depleting my system and not allowing my system and my cells to fully recuperate to the point where they could cope with, really, really being super active. And the journey is also about learning to listen to the body, very much so. And sometimes the level of activity that we had previous to an illness, it might not have suited us, and coming to an acceptance of that can be quite difficult, but it's part again of the process. I'm not saying that you can't get back to doing exactly what you want to do, but it's about learning to listen and trust that your body knows best, and that you can be okay saying, okay, actually today I can only do a short walk, or I really can't run those 5 miles. Maybe the 1 mile is enough, and being happy with exactly what it is that you can do. That's the trick of these things. It's that self-love and that self-respect and trust. So yeah, okay, hope that answers it for you, Grace. Okay, and then the next question we've got on here is from Roz. Do you have any thoughts on what to do during periods of CFIDS relapses? I've had it for 20 plus years, much improved, but still have to manage it carefully. And absolutely, Roz, that there is, it's dips and troughs with these things, but I would say that it's just another indicator, just like I was saying before, of something that might still be running in the background. And this event was all about getting to the root. And I think it's possibly just a time to say, okay, so maybe there's something else in the root of this that I haven't maybe I don't have an awareness of yet, or maybe I do have an awareness and I just haven't processed or released enough yet. So it's just having that bravery and that self-care to say, okay, maybe there's something I do need to do a bit more work on.
Absolutely. And also just to add that often in dips, it's also about, accepting initially what's going on, surrendering to, not getting back into sort of fear patterns about it, maybe taking a bit more rest, doing a bit more inquiry about what's really going on, what still needs to be healed in myself, and just being really gentle and kind with yourself at those times, and then, building your strength back up again and trusting that will happen, and also trusting that you can, really get to the roots and not have to keep dipping back down into symptoms again.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for those great questions. Okay, so then we've got Therese. My illness started with fatigue from childhood trauma and abuse, domestic abuse, and leaving the relationship, being settled, but never been symptom-free. So thank you so much, Therese, for bringing that honesty about your situation and the pain you've experienced in your life, and also the menopause, back at work, but struggle to see how I'll ever feel happy, well, symptom-free. Also depression, diagnosed depression. My mind is full of anger, guilt and bitterness at how I move forward. So Therese, I know that you have the great resource of EFT at your fingertips. So I really recommend using that tool, maybe more, maybe working with a practitioner, maybe working with a group, maybe joining the Women's Wellness Circle community and having that support around you on a more regular basis to help you practice all those tools. Maybe getting some more one-to-one support, creating a lifestyle that really works for you and a routine that really helps you to manage your job and to enjoy your life, and really making sure that you're also doing things that you enjoy, you're spending time in nature, all those kind of things. So, and have the faith that, if you follow a program, like maybe join the community and the sort of program that we're going to take women through over the next year, that doing some kind of program that can support you on your journey. So I don't know if you've got more to add to that, Jen.
Yeah, well, Therese, you say it there. You say your mind is full of anger, guilt, and bitterness. And thank you for being so brave and coming forward and saying those things. I'm sure that many women out there will be able to really connect and hear that in themselves as well. And I was full of anger, full of bitterness, and shame and lots of other really heavy, difficult, exhausting emotions for all of my life. But you've got the awareness there. You're saying it yourself, you know there's anger, there's guilt, there's bitterness. So it's about working with those. Those are going to be really bringing you, if they're always going on, that's depleting you constantly if you're in those patterns. So it's about taking those and saying, right, I'm going to work with these directly, because that's your pain, your anger, your guilt, your bitterness. But you can transform that pain into your power. It's completely possible to do that. They're just indicators that something's wrong, that something's out of balance, that there's just a dissonance somewhere in your system. And maybe you have thoughts and beliefs that don't belong with you anymore. They don't align to you. So use that awareness and that knowledge and that honesty that you bring to this, and use that to go in to do that transformation. And as Frances says, maybe working with a different practitioner or within a group to hold you while you're doing this work is incredibly powerful. That's how I really helped my recovery really fast forward, and finding like a different angle to come at those things. If you've been working with them a lot, maybe you need a different perspective on them to find your blind spots with them. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us, Therese. Okay, looking through, next question is okay, right, so there's a lovely comment here. Thanks, Jen, you just described me. I think that's in relation to some of the things we were talking about in the call yesterday, so I hope you've all had a chance to catch up with the call. We did talk about some things in our own journey and how we got to our own roots. I also relate to Frances and always having to keep the peace. Absolutely, yes, we were talking about our deep patterns of the things that were keeping us in our illness, and those were the roots. One of them was, always having to keep the peace. So there's no space left for you if you're always having to keep the peace. So thank you so much for that comment. There's no name next to that one, but that's a lovely comment. Shall I read out the next one, Frances?
Yeah, from Ingrid. Great.
Yeah. So Ingrid asks, can you give examples of the new beliefs you installed, both Jen and Frances? Will there be yes, there is a replay. Okay, yeah, so Frances, new beliefs. What did you do?
Well, I mean, I suppose like some of my core beliefs were things like I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, the world is a scary place. So installing new beliefs like I am good enough, the world is safe, or I can find environments where I feel very safe, and that sort of thing, I would say, really, so I mean, maybe I know this is more your sort of area that you really look at beliefs in a big way, Jen, but so what would you add to that in terms of the kind of beliefs that you've installed or worked with?
Well, yeah, the way that, so, well, for me, it's really just about, I get through all the layers of everything, and it's just finding that belief system. And for me, that's been like the biggest way for me to heal. And it's still an ongoing process. And sometimes I still find things and I think, wow, I believe that. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah. But it's about creating the opposite. It's about when the awareness comes of a belief that's definitely not serving you, that's definitely depleting you, that's definitely causing you stress, right? So it's okay, right, there's the belief. Respect that, honor that, because that obviously came for a reason. Usually it's come to protect us at some point. We've decided that, or we've been patterned that, and it's just the way that we felt the safest, even if it's not making us safe. It's just the way the brain works, and that's okay. So number one, honoring what our belief is, and then number two, create the opposite. So if it is that at base core, you feel worthless because you were made to feel that and you were told that over and over or shown that over and over, then you need to start believing that I am really worthy. I am naturally perfect. I have so much worth in this world. And that's not measurable against societal things. Like we often, especially in Western society, worth comes with, the level that you are in your job or the amount of money that you have or the kind of house or the car or whatever it is. Nothing to do with that stuff. It's all about this inherent beautiful worth we have as human beings. And we all have a passion and a purpose that's totally inborn and natural. We all have a gift to give to this world, and it looks different for everybody. So it's just finding things like that. And then things like, I'm powerless. No, I am eternally powerful. I'm unsupported and I'm hated and no one's ever going to help me and I'm all alone. No, the universe supports me. The universe loves me. Whatever it is that you need to come back to the truth of this universe, the truth of this world, that we are perfect and we all have worth and gifts and power. That's the kind of beliefs that we would work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like from mine before, like I have to keep the peace at all costs can become, it's okay for me to speak my truth and be authentic in the world.
Absolutely.
And but to get to that point, it's not like we just kind of repeat the new belief again and again and it will just go in. We have to do often some deep sort of clearing out, going back to the roots of what's led to those core beliefs and some deep healing around those things. And then almost the new belief sort of naturally sort of falls in, really. It's not like forcing anything, I would say, because that sort of approach, just affirmations on their own often isn't enough, I would say.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I didn't mean to make that sound like it's just about affirmations. But sometimes looking at things like Louise Hay, she has fantastic affirmations and I've used them in the past, but only when in conjunction with doing the deeper work. Because sometimes I haven't known the words or some way that she's put something has helped me to understand the truth about the universe better. But it's about doing the work to feel that genuinely from yourself. So it's coming up from your own heart and soul, rather than you're trying to force something new onto an old belief system. We really need to break down the old belief system first, and then there's new ones. The real truth of you comes up, and that's where these new beliefs come from. And they all come from yourself. When I do this work with people, I don't tell them what to believe. I ask you, we work with the old one, and when we've broken it down and we've released it a bit and we've healed it a bit, then I say, what is it that serves you? And usually it's straight away. Someone knows exactly what the truth of their true self is. And that work is just the most rewarding, beautiful thing in the world. And I very much hope to be able to keep sharing that with you all. So thanks all for being here to hear about it.
Thank you. Yeah, great. And then we have Tina that shares, I really enjoyed the poem. Thank you. So thank you, Jen, for your wonderful writing.
Thank you, Tina.
May you bring more of your writing into the community as we move forward. And then we have Lois in Manchester who shares, do you just pick a traumatic memory and tap on it using EFT? I've used EFT. Unsure how to change beliefs. Maybe I can. Well, I'd say often with trauma, it's good to work one-to-one with a practitioner that's experienced to support you to go to those deeper places inside. And once you get kind of quite resourced in yourself and you've kind of got, a strong sense of your whole sort of self, your life energy, your courageous, compassionate self, then you can sometimes do quite deep work on your own. But really, initially and generally always, if you keep on this path, it's really good to do work with somebody else, someone else to hold the space, someone else to guide the process, to support you in working in those deeper traumas and installing the new beliefs and helping those embed the new beliefs. So that's, takes a bit of a process, and it's not something really so easily to be taught to do by yourself. Would you agree with that, Jan? Is there anything else you'd add? Or
absolutely, and it's to add that element of safety in for yourself and that element of support. And as we were talking about in the call yesterday, and we always have and always will talk about, we don't heal in isolation. We heal in relation, in community, and a good relationship with a practitioner, even if it's someone that you can only see, every so often, just to get you on track and to do that deeper work in that supported, loving and safe environment. And if I'm not saying that anything would go wrong or anything, it's just making sure that you just have all the resources there for you at that time, and to make sure that you're ready to go forward in the way that you need to. So just definitely look into developing that relationship with the practitioner. And when you're looking at memories, EFT is fantastic, and I'd also add in matrix reimprinting, which is an extension of EFT as well. It works fantastically, specifically with memories. That's the kind of whole point of it. So doing that with someone can be. I still do it. I got a session later on with my own practitioner, because sometimes I need to let go. I need to not hold myself and the memory and the feeling and everything. It's wonderful to do that in relationship with somebody else. So
it is. Yeah. It's really, really valuable to do that. And also, I mean, we will do some sort of elements of deeper work in Circle as a community as well online. And then there is some of that holding that comes from the field of the Women's Circle as well, and the guidance of Jen and I.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Ingrid says, I'm not clear what this offer is for. What are we signing up for? Okay, well, hopefully you got clear by the end, because I know you've joined the community, which is great, Ingrid. I'm so excited about offering, and I've found such power in clearing beliefs. Would love to understand more. So hopefully, Ingrid, you've got more clarity, because you've decided to be yes. So I'm guessing you have. And just taking a moment to welcome all of those of you that have already joined the community. We're so thrilled that you're going to be with us, and we're really looking forward to supporting you over the next year or over the next few months. So that's wonderful. And then we have Cynthia shares. If community needs our unique gifts, how do we come into community without pressures to conform? How is the group organised to reduce pressures to conform? Well, thank you for bringing that question, Cynthia. So, there's no pressure to be anything other than who you are, and we also, aim to minimise pressure by we're going to work towards gently bringing in the different practices and self-care practices in the interviews that we share in a way that is building up gently. No pressure to listen to them all, no pressure to do everything we offer. Take what you can, leave the rest. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And an invitation to really be yourself and take what you need from the community, and leave what is not so important to you, and one step at a time.
Yeah.
And have you got anything to add to that, Jen?
Yeah, I got so much to add to this, but I will try and keep it short. Basically, the work that we're doing and the community that we're creating to do that work in is the opposite of this. Is absolutely taking off all of those pressures to conform, wherever those come from, whether they come from society around you, from your family, from your friends, or whether they're messages that you've internalized and are now, maybe that's an issue. That you're trying to just be something else other than what you truly are, because somehow it's safer to fit in, or you feel like you have to fit in some way. So number one, that's something to work with. But secondly, that's the absolute crux of this, is to shed all of these layers of expectations and pressures that we have absorbed into ourselves for whatever reason, and to start absolutely being our most authentic self. And we're creating these safe spaces like this Women's Wellness Circle for that purpose, exactly. To bring your true self, and to just start practicing being your true self, experimenting, finding what that is in a safe place, with lots and lots of support and lots of love. And then maybe then you're able to go out and do that in the world, so you just don't feel that pressure anymore, because that's a huge pressure, and we don't need that in our lives, Yeah. Thank you so much for that question, Cynthia.
And Cherry says, I would really like to join the community. Welcome, Cherry. Great to have you with us. Really excited you've joined. Thank you, Cherry. And then we have Lois saying, the Facebook group is great, however, I saw it, which I was embarrassed about. Okay, the group is private. So I think maybe we answered this on the call yesterday, but the group is private. The main Women's Wellness Circle page is a large page with quite a big following, which it'd be great to have you all connected to that and getting those posts. But when you join the community, you join a private Facebook group where only people who are in the group will see your posts. Absolutely. So it is private. It won't show on your personal feed. Absolutely not. Okay, Cynthia. Okay. Is this creating connection by identifying with sickness as a primary one, or is wellness the connecting thread? I'm trying to identify with wellness, my true self, rather than symptoms or long-held patterns we wish to reverse. Absolutely, Cynthia. It's all about finding that well self, your true self, your authenticity, and connecting around that journey to become your true self, that journey to become the well version of you, for that to be born. It's about supporting that process and that natural unfolding of who you are. That's the absolute intention of the Women's Wellness Circle community. Jen, anything else? I know we're going to wrap up.
That's absolutely it. Like we don't need to identify with the sickness anymore. We don't need it. And sometimes we do, and sometimes it becomes a protective thing for us to have a sickness that, we're not doing that consciously. I'm not saying like, oh, I love this illness. But sometimes those kind of beliefs can lurk underneath some of the other things that are going on. So we work with absolutely letting go of all of these long held patterns and just coming back to our true balanced self, because the body innately wants to heal and the body innately can heal. It's just when we're in sickness, it's just not got the conditions in which it can go back to its normal homeostasis balance. So the way we come from is just to keep going at these patterns that underlie it, or to stop that imbalance from being there anymore. That's the true work of it. So that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you for bringing that up.
And then we have faith can change for the better, a clear faith. So this must be, I think this is some sharing from the exercise we did yesterday in the session. A clear structured pathway. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Jen. I don't
just
your name here, but thank you for your sharing. And faith, things can change for the better. Great. Wonderful.
I'm so glad that something like that came up for you in that call. It's such an important thing to keep reminding ourselves of these things and keep grounding back in, which is why in the circle we do something like every Monday morning. I'll go on to Facebook and there'll be a live intention setting ceremony, which is something very simple, just a hello and welcome us all back into circle for the week. And just a gentle invite to just ground into why it is that we're doing this work, or why it is that we're looking after ourselves, or why it is we're coming into circle with each other, to just keep that faith up, to keep the faith that things can change for the better. Because all of us can, anything can happen in life, or you're just having a bad day, or something distracts you, and suddenly you're not on that path anymore. You kind of come out of it. So the more we kind of come back into it and keep that on our journey together, and as you say, a clear structured pathway, that's what we want to keep doing, keeping it for each other and keeping it for ourselves as well. We're on this journey, walking alongside of you. So lovely, so lovely that came up for you. Thank you.
And Kathy says, I've healed from CFS.
Oh, yay.
Kathy, yay! With the help of Fran, yes, I know you, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. And the GUPT program. And continue to practice towards a full acceptance of myself with all of my flaws, learning to love myself. I also feel that I have moved and continue to move from strive to thrive. Trust and healing and commitment to the process have seen me through. Thank you. Oh, Kathy, great to have some of your joy and your experience and your wisdom in the circle, and to spread that to other women. So that's wonderful. Thank you, of what's really possible. Wonderful to have you with us. And Cynthia, recovering sense of safety, that's expansive. Recovering sense of expansive embodied safety, overcoming hyper alert tension to stay safe within the context of the real rape culture in my country and attacks. Thank you for bringing all of that and sharing so deeply from the journaling prompts, and what came up for you. And we didn't really touch on it in the call fully yesterday, actually, but we were going to touch on the sort of more the movement around that sort of Me Too campaign of recent time, and like, as women, there's more women that develop chronic illness. Is it partly because we have lived in a very patriarchal society for a long time? There has been a lot of abuse that's happened, and is that one of the reasons why there is this healing that needs to happen even more so through women, and also the healing of the earth that needs to happen as a result of all of this, and the way so it taps into some bigger topics. Cynthia, what you've brought here, thank you. I don't know if Jen, you want to share anything else around that?
Just thank you so much, Cynthia, for your your braveness and coming forward, and also just being here, that you're looking outside of, you know, that culture that you are exposed to, and looking for support and looking for this safety. And, you know, I truly believe that the work that we do on ourselves to heal, release, and transform these pain patterns truly does ripple out into the world, and it truly changes the ancestral lines of this pain. So sometimes we can be living in a very difficult time, very, very difficult, but the work that we're doing, the love that we're showing to ourselves and to others by doing it, and by passing it, because what we do ourselves, other people are affected by our energy and by our example in this world, that maybe we can stop some of these ancestral patterns of pain, you know, the abuses carried out by men and women in countries around the world, that we could be affecting the way that gets passed down. You know, maybe we can be healing it a bit, maybe we can be just living a different example. And we're all capable of that. It's not just, you know, the big ones, the Mother Teresas or the Gandhis or whatever. Like, every single one of us has that effect, and our effect ripples out. So thank you so much for bringing yourself to this circle. It's just so beautiful. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. And Susie shares from the meditation as well, around trauma, the past, fear, need to feel safe, need to find out who I am, need to feel safe being who I am. Yeah, Susie, thank you. So they're often so core elements of what's required to heal. So thanks for bringing that to the circle and your process here. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of wrap up in a minute, but Kathy, yeah, absolutely. We said on the call, share away. Anyone who wants to share this Q&A call that we're doing now, or the call that we did yesterday on getting through it for chronic illness, then feel free to share away with women in your community that you feel could benefit from what we're sharing. And I know, Ingrid, you've there will always be replays of all of the calls that we'll be offering over the next year long of the course, and they are at 5 p.m. UK time, so that it fits with US time zone as well. So we've made it fit with US time zone. So you're in Colorado, so and in American dollars, we've worked out that it's $389 for the year, or about $45.60, I think, for a month. So that's the cost in American dollars. Answering that question, doesn't say who it's come from. And Lindsay asks, how structured will it be? Will it follow a process like a 12 steps, so you do starting with awareness, moving deeper, and then practices? Or will it flit about? No, there'll be a structure. There'll be a structure like we outlined in the call yesterday, of going through those different steps month by month, the foundations, the acceptance, the surrender, the belief, the commitment, the self-care, the community, the overcoming blocks, the trauma, the purpose and authenticity. And so we'll take a journey. We'll go on a journey over the next year, exploring these topics in each of the different calls and in the Facebook community in between the calls as well.
Yeah. And
then we have a thank you both. Great session. Thanks, Joe. Great to have you with us. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Great to have you with us as well. And Rafaela shares, thank you so much for your great work and your integrity. Oh, thank you. Great to have you with us. And thanks from Lindsay as well. Thank you, everyone who joined us for the call yesterday on getting through the chronic illness, and for those of you who have listened to the end of this Q&A session here. So we have, do you want to talk more about the community? What's happening there, Jen?
Yeah, so well, the community is open for anyone to join at any point in the year, at any point in your journey. It's open, but we because we designed some new things recently, and we've sort of re-energized some of the resources that we have. We're just doing a bit of a special bonus deal at the minute, just to help as many people as possible to benefit from this kind of community. Because I know that if I'd have found something like this when I was like truly in the worst part of my illness, I can't even imagine how that would have helped me go forward. And we just want to spread this message of of healing and support and love and the tools, real tools. It's not just something fluffy. We're here for each other every day to inspire each other and hold each other, but also we can help with getting to the roots of these things and do the coaching and do the work, and we'll do that in support of each other. So the community, the circle, is a private, confidential and safe space that both Frances and I hold, and we have a team of some contributors as well who help us out. And we will be there, and we do things like the Monday morning intention ceremonies. We do Thursday self-care practices so that you can dip in and out of those and use them and refresh your own practices and be inspired to look after yourself well. And we do a monthly coaching call, so you would be able to come into group, into circle with us, and we'll be doing, we'll start off a topic and go much deeper into it and hold some practices there, and then for the month after that we'll be supporting those practices and going deeper into them in the steps and in the steps that we outlined in the call, and they are also outlined on the emails that go out with this. And there's some other things in there as well, like, a massive thing like the Women's Wellness Council interviews, which if you get the yearly package, you get the full year of 2018 interviews, which are just such deep, deep wisdom from world leaders female world leaders in healing and recovery, and they have their own stories and they have their own techniques, and they bring those to us. So that's kind of the basis. Oh, and we do office hours as well, so in the week you can contact us in a live session. So if there's any questions about things that are coming up for you, or just things you want to share, we're always there to make sure that we're holding you safely and with love. So, and this is it. This is what we're holding, and that's the offer. The offer is to come into that for a whole year for an early bird discount of $295, which is £295, or as we said, $384-ish, depending on the day or whatever it is. So if you want to commit to that, I think that it only works out as like £25 a month or something like that. It's like 80p a day. So, and you would get every single day, there's some inspiration that goes up into the group, and that we answer any questions, and people support, the women support each other in there as well, having that community of people that just understand. You don't have to start from scratch each time and explain what is the symptom and what does it feel like. We get this. We totally understand what it's like to have these illnesses for a very long time. So that's what we're doing. That's basically it.
Yeah, so the cost will go up to $345 after the 31st of October, so it'd be great to join before then if you possibly can. And you can also join on a monthly basis for £35 a month. Obviously, you ultimately save money if you join on a yearly basis, but if you just want to take the first step, that's okay too. So we do have that option as well. And we really look forward to welcoming you. And if you want to find out more about the community, then look at womenswellnesscircle.com/join. That's womenswellnesscircle.com/join, and those of you who are on the email list as well, you'll be getting emails about that with the link directly there as well. And those of you listening on YouTube, will post it below as well, so or on Facebook if we get it on Facebook. But so wishing you all well, sisters. Let's just take a moment to pause. Unless, Jen, is there anything else you need to say before we do?
No, I think I've said quite a few things today. If you have any more questions, just email us. Just email us.
Email Frances at womenswellnesscircle.com, and I'll respond to your emails when I can. or email Joanne at womenswellnesscircle.com, who works for us a little bit, does some admin for us. So email us if you've got any questions, and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Yeah. And take a moment to take a breath and a smile, and to feel a sense of being in your body in this moment, sending a smile through your body, a sense of what it'd be like to be in a women's circle, maybe a real live women's circle, sat in circle, maybe looking into the eyes of other women and wishing them well, wishing them healing, sending out love and well wishes to them. And then taking a moment to receive that love and well wishes for you. Enter the timeless space of a women's circle for a moment and feel it in your body and your heart. And feel that it can help to soothe your nervous system and help you on your healing journey. Okay, so wishing you all well. Bye.